So basically this is how it started versus how it ended. There were different groups, all with different ideologies, but only one thing was common. So many people died. So this conflict had its main participants. The disaster causes, Pseudo Ghetto, Jogo versus the sorcerers. However, we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. So let's go back to the beginning. It's 7 p.m. It's Halloween. Everything seems normal at Bunkamura Street. However, this didn't last long because immediately after 7 p.m.,
2018年10月31日19時ちょうど、東急百貨店東横店を中心に半径およそ400メートルの帳が下ろされる。
fast forward to 8:14 p.m.
The streets are empty.
and sorcerers have arrived on scene in three distinct groups: Nanamis, Naobitos, and Kusakabes. However, none of them enter the Veil. 8:30 p.m. It's pure chaos inside the Veil, but
Oh, ごめん。
8:31 p.m. Gojo arrived. However, we're gonna leave Gojo for now. Let's go far away from Shibuya to Mei Mei and Yuji. It's 8:39 p.m. Yuji and Mei Mei are just chilling. However, they get called to Meiji Shrine
As another veil had been lowered there.
8:51 p.m. One of the assistants is explaining to them how two veils have been lowered, so they have to split up. Mai Mai to fight the transfigured humans, as Yuji goes to fight the locusts. 9:03 p.m. It's Yuji versus Kogai. 10 minutes later, Yuji's won. 9:14 p.m. Maito is at B5, realizes that Kogai had been killed, and he takes a train to Shibuya. 9:15 p.m. Mei Mei and Yuji run to B5 as the veil had been lowered, but they were too late. Okay, so let's go back to Gozo. We left him at around 8:31 p.m. So 8:38 p.m. Gojo's analyzing the scene and he realized that there's an extra veil. But realized that at this point it's not like he didn't realize what they were planning. He just didn't care and he proceeded to level B5. 8:40 p.m. the fight starts. Oh, side note, after Mahito left the train, on his way he's just been fudging people up, transfiguring them. So the fight continued. 9:17 p.m. Mahito arrives and chaos increases.
Shoso and Maito are killing people. The chaos continues to increase,
forcing Gojo to
マジか。領域展開。無料空所。
In the next 5 minutes, he kills all the transfigured humans. 9:22 p.m. All transfigured humans are dead, but around this time, additional barriers were lowered before Gojo was fully sealed. 9:26 p.m. Jogo awakes, but apparently they can't move the prison realm cause lies. Anywho, 9:27 p.m. the disaster cause is split up due to their different goals, but Pseudo Ghetto remains behind. 9:30 p.m. Dagon is just sucking up a lot of humans. Maito splits into two, and the remaining disaster cause is also split up. Jogo, Dagon, and Shoso. Let's leave the disaster causes for a while. Let's go back to the sorcerers. It's 9:22 p.m. and if you remember, immediately as Gojo was getting sealed, new bars were lowered. As a result of the new bars being lowered and the fact that transfigured humans were inside the buildings waiting, and now they had been released and were killing humans, all three sorcerer groups enter the original veil simultaneously. As Gojo being sealed was a condition for Mekamaru's insurance, at 9:23 p.m., Mekamaru appears to Yuji and explains everything to him. Due to the urgency of the scenario, Mei Mei agrees to believe him. They split up. 9:26 p.m., Yuji is out of the subway. 9:27 p.m., Yuji gets the info about Gojo's immobility, to which he proceeds to Nanime and Kusakabe hear Yuji shouting. Naname's group proceeds to meet with Yuji. It's 9:33 p.m. Nanami's group and Yuji meet up, and after Yuji explains everything to them, they understand what's at stake and they split up. Nanami proceeds to meet up with Ijichi outside the barrier as he leaves Megumi and Yuji to Ino to deal with the barrier. So for now, we're gonna leave that group as we go and check up on Kugisaki. Now, Kugisaki entered the barrier with Maki and Naobito.
After a while of staying inside the barrier,
Maki decided to send Kugisaki and Nita outside the barrier so that if anything got serious, they could leave whenever they wanted to. That was around 9:37 p.m. Oh, and way early on, Ijichi was fudged up by Haruta, so Ijichi is just lying there dead. So it's 9:44 p.m. Nanami is walking outside the barrier and he meets Ijichi. So let's go to 9:40 p.m. 9:40 p.m. Kugisaki and Nita are outside the barrier, but they meet up with Haruta. Haruta being
This is a sick Negro!
he starts fighting them because yeah, that's just the way it is. 9:46 p.m. the fight wasn't really going their way. No lie, Haruto was cooking them, but he appeared and within like 1 minute the fight was over. So it's 9:50 p.m.
and they have to split up. Kugisaki and Nita go home.
but Nanami goes back inside the barrier. Kugisaki and Nita semi-retired. Okay, let's go back to Yuji, Megumi, and Ino. Remember we left them at around 9:33 p.m. For some reason for the past 30 minutes. Either they've been running or they were fighting transfigured demons because it's around 9:59 p.m. and Yuji's trying to break the veil.
And after some brainstorming, they realize about the entrusted veil.
It's 10:01 p.m.
and they start fighting for the veil.
Long story short, Yuji and Megumi versus Curse User 1. They win, but Ino versus Curse User 2. That Curse User, she summons Doji, who defeats Ino in like 3 seconds and throws Ino off the roof. And as he had been ordered to kill Jujutsu sorcerers, he also kills the sorcerer who summoned him. It's 10:04 p.m. Yuji and Megumi are done their fight. They destroyed the curse tools that were necessary for the entrusted veil. They realized Ino's falling, so they go and rescue him. It's 10:05 p.m. and Megumi and Yuji split up. Yuji goes farther, but Megumi has to take Ino outside the barrier to meet up with Ieri-san. So let's go back to Mei. We left Mei at around 9:24 p.m. But since we left her, she's just been toying with her opponent, catwalking, saying her life story. 40 minutes or so have passed because it's around 10:04. The same time, Yuji and Megumi destroy the curse tools that are responsible for the veil. They realize that the veil is lowered and they proceed further into the tunnel. They meet Geto,
who summons a special grade and is like, if you can defeat that special grade, then you can come and fight me.
Long story short, she wins and round 2 of Mei versus Geto begins. But the problem is, apparently Geto is too strong. So this is just my analysis of the scenario, but we didn't see anything about where Mei was till like the last episodes of the season.
We see them at 10:36 KL time. That's 11:36 Shibuya time. The exact time Pseudo Geto pulled up. So the last time we saw her, it was around 10:12 p.m. So what's she been doing for more than an hour? We left her starting her fight with Geto, but no way their fight lasted more than 10 minutes. Going with how other fights in Shibuya have gone. Yuji versus Choso, Sukuna versus Jogo, all ending within 10 minutes. And Pseudo Geto is way stronger than Mei. Around 10:12 p.m. Shibuya time, their fight starts. 10:17 p.m. the fight's already over. 10:18 p.m. they teleport to KL because anyway they use the plane. 10:20 to 11:10, she's just chilling in the hot tub. 11:10, she orders a bottle of wine from room service. 11:15 to 11:30 p.m., she goes online and sells all her stocks. 11:32 p.m., Shibuya time, she proceeds to share a bed with her teenage brother.
You's a freaky ass nigga!
Which local time would be around 10:32 p.m. So anyway you decide to construct your story, Meme and Wiwi retired very early on into the Shibuya incident.
Anyway, let's go back to Yuji.
We left Yuji going further into the Vale.
But you have to remember, the disaster classes split up at around 9:30 p.m. And who was Choso looking for? Yeah, we'll get back to that. 10:07 p.m. and Yuji just split up from Megumi. He sees the transfigured humans that Naobito was talking about when he said that there were transfigured humans who are hiding in the buildings, but then now they're just killing humans. And he's worried about what he do, but Inumaki's like, leave it to me, right? And he proceeds to leave. It's 10:10 p.m. and he leaves Inumaki only to meet Choso. And immediately the fight starts. But sadly, Choso is too strong, and around 10:15 p.m. Yuji's fully retired because he's too injured. Choso seems to be having a mental crisis of his own, so Choso semi-retired. So let's go back to Maki and Naobito. Very early on into the fight, the Zenin group had entered the Vale, but Maki had sent Kugisaki outside, and all this time they've been fighting transfigured humans. And Kugisaki proceeded to meet up with Nanami,
who proceeded inside the OG Vale
at around 9:50. So it's 10:20 p.m. and Nanami meets the Zenin group and informs them about Gojo, as they hadn't had Yuji's email or something. They yap for around 10 minutes.
It's 10:25 p.m.
when they lock in as they send something. It was Dagon. So the fight starts. Dagon goes full on. They're getting cooked inside Dagon's domain until Megumi arrives. Towards he arrives, he defeats Dagon in like 7 minutes because it's around 10:57 p.m. when Dagon's dead and they're outside.
So from here,
the storyline splits.
We're gonna put a pause on Megumi's story
and focus on Jogo and Sukuna. If you remember, around 9:28 p.m., Mimiko and Nanako were threatening Sudogeto of like, leave Geto's body alone, whatever.
But Geto's like,
I don't remember leaving your heads empty, you're so retarded, oh my god, you can't do anything to me, so just F off. It was around 9:30 p.m. when all disaster cases went on their own. We know where Choso went, and we know where Dagon went. But we didn't know where Jogo went. And at around 10:15 p.m., Yuji was retired by Choso and is somewhere out there just in critical condition. At 58 p.m., Jogo arrives and just in around 2 seconds he deals with the remaining sorcerers. And remember, Mimiko and Nanako left, right? So, in the background, Mimiko and Nanako have found Yuji and they remove the seal from a
finger and they feed it to him.
It's 11 p.m. Immediately at the same time,
Jogo feels Sukuna's presence
and he's like, damn, I have to leave. So, side note, Naobito and Maki are fully retired, Nanami is semi-retired. At around 11:02 p.m, Jogo arrives and is like, hey yo, how many fingers have you fed him? But Mimiko and Nanako being the trots they are, they refuse to answer him, so he's like, okay, then die. Then he proceeds to feed unconscious Yuji all 10 fingers. At around 11:03 p.m, unfortunately, this happened. Which led to this. Little side story. Y'all remember at around 9:29 p.m, Kusakabe and Panda had a about Gojo situation. So, long story short, it's like 1 hour 30 minutes later. They've been roaming all around Shibuya this entire time because Kusakabe wants to waste time and he apparently doesn't want to die. However, fortunately, they meet Geto's friends, which under normal circumstances would be good. But yeah, Sukuna arrives at around 11:05 p.m. Later on, their fight with Jogo ends. It's around 11:07 p.m. Jogo's dead. Orome has arrived, but Sukuna feels the presence of some real opponent somewhere, and he has to leave. Back to Megu. At around 10:57 p.m., Toji ejects Megumi from the building, and it's around 10:59 p.m. when Toji and Megumi are about to start fighting. Around 11 p.m., Megumi feels Sukuna's presence, and their fight continues.
Toji randomly remembers that he has a child and shanks himself in the head.
Oh, that would have been like a win for Megumi, and he's supposed to like go to Ierisa and get healed. But Haruto comes out of nowhere and slices Megumi's back. He's been chilling in the background ever since he met Nanami, so yeah. At around 11:07 p.m., Megumi for some reason summons Mahoraga. Oh yeah, so yeah, he summons Mahoraga. It's around 11:08 when Sukuna arrives, analyzes the scene, and he's like, oh yeah, so we have to fight this thing.
And the fight starts. Their fight continues.
Up until around 11:12 p.m., where, yeah, Mahoraga is dead.
Alongside every single human being that was within range.
Oh, side story, Eri has been at Shibuya this entire time. She's been outside the veil. That's where Nanami took Ichichi and where Megumi took Ino. At around 11:13 p.m.,
Sukuna takes Megumi to Ieri to be healed.
it's 11:14 p.m. when Yuji takes control back from Sukuna. So, let's go on to our final arc. It's around 11:15 p.m. when Yuji resolves that he has to continue fighting, but past memories starts to plague him. Side story, Nanami didn't die from the bonds, and he's been walking around this entire time. Unfortunately, he met Mahito. While still in a daze, he started killing the transfigured humans, but Mahito's a twat, so he proceeds. It's around 11:17 p.m. when Mahito blicked Nanami right in front of Yuji. So at around 11:18 p.m. their fight starts. So side story, you all remember this and how they were like supposed to go home? At around 11:14 p.m. they had already met Ieri and they were healed. But apparently Kugisaki didn't go home, so she went back into the veil. At around 11:16 p.m. she met Mahito.
And they started fighting.
Somewhere along their fight, Kugisaki goes crazy and lands a critical hit on Mahito. So Mahito's like, okay, damn, this is really dangerous. He starts to run. Back to Yuji and Mahito. They've been going crazy this entire time. But when Mahito was like so close to landing a critical hit on Yuji,
Kugisaki's critical hit comes in clutch.
and Yuji goes crazy. Original Mahito realizes that, hey man, shit ain't sweet, and he starts to run. Then this happened. It's around 11:23 p.m. when Kugisaki is sent home. So after Kugisaki's like dead,
Mahito goes absolutely crazy.
Yuji's just lost all hope and is ready to die. At around 11:09 p.m., Todo arrived in Shibuya. So let's go back to Yuji and Mahito.
It's around 11:24 p.m.
Todo pulls up in the nick of time and saves Itadori, reignites his resolve, and they start fighting. So here's how the little short version of how their fight goes. At around 11:27 p.m., everybody goes crazy and they all go 120%. At around 11:31 p.m., this happened.
領域展開自閉エンドンか
And Todo had to retire. 11:32 p.m., Mahito undergoes metamorphosis. But unfortunately, that wasn't enough. It's around 11:34
when Yuji finally wins. Oh, another side story. Y'all remember how like Choso had a mental crisis in the middle of the fight? It's around 11:28 p.m. Choso awakens from his PTSD and he resolves to continue fighting. And Kusakabe and Panda didn't die from Jogo's attack. At 11:28 p.m., they also quote unquote awaken from the rubble. Oh, by the way, this entire time, backup has been arriving. At 11:36 p.m., Sudogeto arrives, plays with Yuji for a few minutes before revealing his true behavior and absorbs Mahito. So yeah, at that point, everybody meets together. Kusakabe arrives, Panda arrives, Choso arrives, backup arrives, Uraume arrives at the scene, and everybody meets together and starts fighting. So yeah, that's basically the entire storyline of the Shibuya incident. It quite literally didn't take even 4 hours because the barrier was lowered after 7 p.m, whatever that means. So let's say 7:40 plus 4 hours later, it's 11:40, and yeah, all that damage that happened, it even took 4 hours. So I hope this helped you better understand how things actually took place. Yeah, thank you for watching as always. Bye. Please subscribe. Please. Anyway, thank you.